I started the timer.
What's that?
I started the timer.
Nice. Don't knock anything over. And we're live. So this week, we're trying to all fit in here. There's too many games. I hate the term games. I hate that.
With a Z.
I hate that stuff, dude. Anyways, so today our topic is
Gains. How not to get gains.
So we invited Chase Campbell, a homie of mine for a long time, West Valley.
The beat.
Anyways, so we invited Chase to join us today. One, because he's the one that started the book club with me. So if you're not already following or joining us, we'd love to have you join us, especially this month where we've all chosen our own books. We do a live video chat at the end of the month, and it's been great so far. Like a lot of insight shared, a lot of learning and growth for me, anyways. But we invited Chase today. Today's topic is want it like you say you do, and so really quick. And this will kind of go to each of our own interpretation of what that means. But just some history on where I started the hashtag. Because the concept itself isn't new at all. It's just kind of how I phrased it in my head at the time. But when I started kind of posting about competing and stuff like that and dieting and everything like that, and I'm sure you guys have got the same. Like I had everybody in the family, friends, whatever, be like, Phil, I'm ready to change my life, man. I'm ready to work. Give me a plan, and I will, I'm gonna change my life and get fit or whatever. So, right, this is all regarding their fitness. And so I took, and that stuff is my passion. Like working out, so that's all. Like I love that stuff. And so, I immediately grabbed my attention, and I would invest my time. Not that it was a wasted investment, but I would invest my time to help them. Create a plan so they could follow a schedule and
try to help them out.
Try to help them out,
yeah.
And then 2 days later, like avoiding my phone calls, we make eye contact in public and they try to like look away, like just straight up,
right.
And honestly for me, like I could give a damn what you do, but I felt that you were sincere about it, and so I wanted to help you.
So you invest your time.
So I invested my time in it, and so essentially came down to, if you're gonna say something, then do it. And if you're not gonna do it, then don't say it. That's essentially what want it like you say you do. And I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not saying that I'm not.
Right.
But I'm guilty of myself. So.
Well, I'm super guilty of it, and that was part of the. I remember the first time I saw you wearing that shirt in the gym. I was like, I gotta get one of those shirts. And in fact, I hit you up for one, and you didn't have my size. And I think that's why I haven't accomplished anything in the last 5 years. Because you didn't have a shirt. Like if I could have just gotten my hands on one of those shirts, I'd have been in a much better place. But no, because I was 100% that guy. Is not like I would say all the stuff I want to do, and I would never do it. So matter of fact, fitness related. That's actually how I got so fat. Was because so I used to weigh like 300 pounds. And lost about 90 or so pounds, give or take. Depends if it's the middle of the week or the weekend, right?
Yeah.
And that's been 5.5, 6 years ago now, or 5 or 6 years ago. But I would always want to start, right? Like I'm going to do this next Monday. Next Monday's the day, right? I'm going to go grocery shopping. I'm going to buy my groceries. I'm going to write a workout plan. I'm going to start on Monday. And then Wednesday would come, and I would mess up, and I would. I'd go out to eat, or I'd go get lunch, or I'd drink a soda because I was going to quit soda. And so I was like, oh, well, I might as well just start next Monday. And so I never actually dove into it the way that I kept talking about wanting to do it. And then I would binge all weekend because it's like, oh, I'm never going to eat cheeseburgers again. I'm never going to eat pizza again. I'm never going to drink soda ever again. And I'd start Monday and then mess up. And it was the same. So I was just binging every single weekend for weeks, which is actually how I got so fat, because I kept telling myself I'm going to do this. And then I would never follow through. So. Anyway.
Yeah. You jump in from there. or what are your thoughts?
So for me, I don't know. Like it really just comes down to accountability. Like literally, it says whatever. Like want it like you say you do is it. Just go do it.
It's right there.
Like I don't know how deep you need explaining. I don't know if you need a picture on the wall or like, for me, literally it came down to, because I can relate. I was 306 pounds.
Yeah.
Like I can relate.
Yeah, you're a lot taller than I am, right? That's a little different.
I can relate, dude. Just having that weight.
a lot more.
No.
And so for me, it was like literally, it came down like my wife hated the gym scene at the time. I had no kind of knowledge of what I was trying to do, or how to do it, but just to do it. And for like, I don't know. For me, I set like weekly goals. So at the end of the week, I had to do something.
Sure.
I started on Monday, and then by Saturday, I had to, if it was a weight run, like if was trying to hit a certain weight, or trying to hit a certain PR, or trying to hit, like, for me, it was literally, okay, every week I'll have a goal. By Saturday, I've got to hit that goal.
Right.
And so that's how, I don't know, I can relate to that. It was that, I don't know, for me it's just all about doing. I don't have any excuse to why I'm not going to do something I say.
Well, I think
Makes
it's
sense.
easy for anyone to come up with excuses of why, or like you have these good intentions, but it's really easy to let things get in the way, and it's a matter of how much do you actually want it, right? And if you want it bad enough, you don't let things come up, you don't let things get in your way, right? Like we all go to the gym every day, and we don't let anything get in the way of that, right? Because it's top priority. Because we
Unless it's our kids.
right, right, but like. There's other stuff that we talk about wanting to do, but because we don't want it the same way, it's
Right.
easier for things to get in the way.
So I think something that I want, because you're right, and we actually go back because you called me on something a little bit earlier this week, kind of shot me a text message, kind of talking about some of my own.
Yeah.
So it's good because this all started, the principles themselves like really started to make sense to me, fitness wise, because of being able to take, I had never competed before, and like, man, I want to compete,
Right.
and kind of set my mind to it, and then I didn't know what I was doing exactly, but I got myself, moving towards that goal,
Right.
and that's where it all started. And
I think it starts where we're comfortable, right? So we're all like, fitness is something that we're really comfortable with.
Yeah.
And so I literally think that it starts with the comfort zone, but in order to succeed or to achieve something or some kind of progress, you got to go out.
Right.
So to that, so I've got a few questions to that because. So that was my comfort zone, right? And but when you get, man, and maybe it's just in my head, but like once you get to a point where you're quote unquote stage ready, like anything less than that, like people think that you like or they think that I maintain this all year round, right? So
Like Steve Cook.
So
Steve Cook's just magazine cover ready
Yeah.
all the time.
So subconsciously, like in my head, I feel this pressure to have to maintain that, and if I don't maintain that, then there's like a sense of failure or like I'm being dishonest, right? And so I try to be open as open as possible about it but there's still some hesitancy on my part, which is what you kind of pointed out to me earlier this week. Something I didn't want to really admit to myself.
Sure.
But absolutely true.
Well, I hope you
right?
don't think I was like trying to call you out. It was more.
No, it wasn't a call
Yeah.
out. I needed I needed the message, and I appreciate it because I do want to express that. Because I know that there are other people that can connect with that. Like our weakest and like most scary places, like mentally and emotionally that we can be is where people where people are able to connect the most.
Yeah.
Because no one talks about
No
that.
one ever wants
Like,
to
I
talk
don't
about
want to talk about it.
Right.
But
I got the sense from you that you felt bad because you weren't living up to a certain persona.
Absolutely.
And I just wanted you to know, being an observer from the outside, that didn't matter to me.
Right.
So don't let that stop you from what it is that you're doing. So and I was.
No, and I appreciate that. So for me, you're right. The comfort zone of exercise, that was where I'm familiar with everything, right? And so the principles really started to make sense to me there. So I've got a few follow-up questions for you guys.
Sure.
Because our effort here isn't around specifically fitness. Our effort is how we translate that outside of our comfort zone, right? Because we know all of us, we've, for some time or however time you've talked about, like, man, I want to do this, I want to do that. Maybe it's not, your fitness goal, but maybe it's, I want to become this entrepreneur type, whatever. I want to do this, so I'm going to start next week. Oh, I can't do that yet because I don't have this, or I can't do it yet because I'm not certified in this or whatever. And so how do we translate that same principle, or how do you guys, in your guys' opinion, translate that principle into other aspects? And then I have a follow-up question after that as well.
All right, so that, I guess, that your first question.
Yeah. How do you translate? Yeah, how do you translate that principle across, make it transferable?
So, I mean, it's as far as fitness goals specifically. When I first started out, I had this goal of I want to lose 80 pounds. Right. That was my initial concrete goal, but that's overwhelming to think about, and you want to change everything overnight, but you can't. And so I had to think about it. I relate it to college. Right? Like everyone goes to school and they want to get a degree, and that's 4 years, and that's a lot of class and a lot of homework, and that's an overwhelming thing to think about. So you break it down one class at a time, one homework assignment at a time, one semester at a time, and then that accumulates, and then you're done, right? Kind of what you were talking about with your goals. You had a goal, whether it be a certain weight, or I'm gonna bench press a certain amount by this Saturday, I'm gonna deadlift a certain amount, whatever, and then each week you have your goals and they accumulate, and then the big goal takes care of itself, right? And that, I was able to make that comparison from fitness to like, oh, this is kind of what college is. It's kind of doing the same thing, right? That goes everywhere with life, whether that's something with your family that you want to do, like you want to buy a house, or if you want to go on vacation, or something with your career, or, I mean, it translates to every part of life, because there's always going to be some big goal that you want to achieve, and it's breaking it down into individual goals that are like milestones that you just hit those, and once the milestones accumulate, you're done. And so that way it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's kind of what you were looking
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. Well,
Restate that question again.
so basically, I mean, so kind of you laid out about, the whole transformation of taking yourself from 306 pounds down to a competitive weight, and that challenge, because that right there is impossible for 99% of people out there. Like that's like what's the term or the saying, like Americans lose more weight than any other country out there. We just gain it
We
back.
gain it all back.
We just gain it all back, because that yo-yo. So just the steps that you identified in your head, this is where I want to get, this is what I'm going to do. And it wasn't a question of if I can get there, it was a question for you of, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to do, and if this happens, this is what I'm going to do. So those steps into running your current transportation business, into Bula Lepa, into the projects that we're working on right now. How have you translated those principles into other areas of your life? And it is pretty simple, but I want us to break that down, because kind of like the gym, like the hardest part for most people is getting to the damn door.
Yeah.
Right, but
You know what I
for
mean?
me, it's more of, you've got to understand that once you get the understanding and accept that you don't want to be, like for me, I would put it back to living in Hawaii. Like, just, I don't want to live like that. I don't like, my mom calls and asks for help. My brothers still live at home. My cousins that I grew up with in the same house all still live in the same house that I grew up in that's fallen apart. Like, I don't want to live like that, and so, and it really is that simple. Like for me, it's like, just go do it. If you fail at it, just, oh well. And this just might be my attitude.
Well, no, but you have to at least try, right? You have to at least
Right.
start. So
You're not gonna make any kind of progress standing here.
right. So on one of your guys' first videos, you guys talked about, I think it was with Jay. You guys talked about purpose, right? Just finished Ego is the Enemy, our boy Ryan Holiday, and he talks about passion over purpose, right? And a lot of times people can be blinded by passion, and you think that you've got a passion for something and you want to pursue it because you're just because you're passionate about it, and that's good
That
enough,
passion dies, right?
But like, what are you passionate about? And if you have a purpose, like you got a purpose of starting this business, and you don't want to, live like you did when you were in Hawaii and all these other things, but that can become your passion, but still serving a purpose at the same time. And once you have that behind you, then all of a sudden it's your top priority, like going to the gym was for us for whatever goals we had. And now it's easier to actually go and start something because you've got that purpose behind you, which inevitably becomes a passion. So
Yeah. Quick plug, if you guys haven't read that book, Ego's the Enemy.
Ego's
Ryan
the
Holiday, The Obstacles Away and Ego's the Enemy.
legit.
Dope.
In fact, I was listening to a different podcast. It was just a podcast that he was on, and he talked about something that was kind of cool. He said that priority up until I think it was just the last century was the only form of the word priority was singular, priority. And because priority took priority over anything else. It was the number one thing that you were working on, and it wasn't until just like, I think it was the 19th century, that we made it a plural thing, and we had multiple priorities, and then we had to organize our priorities, but that's never what it was intended to be. It was always intended to be one word, priority. What's the number one thing you're going to work on? That's it. Comes from the Stoics, of course. Stoicism, look it up. Change your life. So I got a couple notes. You said you had a follow-up question, but go ahead.
No. If you want to go first, the follow-up question can you go after?
Don't want to take us down a different path.
So the follow-up question to that. So again, all the way back to you calling me out like a dick, right? So all the way back. So I took myself from here to here, and then I felt like subconsciously, like if I didn't maintain this, then I'm a liar or like someone deceiving people around me.
Sure.
Right, and so I somewhat feel a little bit of failure or shortcoming on my part, right? So and because I don't maintain stage ready, and whatever results, I'm a firm believer, whatever results I achieve or you achieve, whatever, are all due to actions that we take. Right?
Sure.
So I own whatever it is that I have. But what are some things that you guys do or keep in place to maintain? So maybe go back to your passion or purpose over passion, but what do you guys do or focus on to keep active in those principles in whatever regard or area?
I guess it depends on what it is exactly, but with fitness goals, right, it's important to just set new goals and then constantly rework what you're doing to move in that direction, right? But it's funny to say this now. We're talking about all these changes that we wanted to make as fitness, right? But I feel like we all have a certain grasp on that world where for us now it's just kind of second nature. It just happens, right? Going to the gym every day, eating a certain way, it just happens, right? We made it habitual. For a lot of people, that's like a hard thing to think about, and we all have been there. But go ahead.
So what about outside projects? Because this is something that we've talked about in previous videos. Is like I always get super passionate about certain things.
Yeah.
And then I start to talk myself like,
yeah,
ain't nobody trying to hear your sorry
right.
ass. You ain't got nothing to offer. Like, who the hell are you? So
right.
So my love for that, whatever it is still there. My passion for it is still there. But man, that stuff, like, I can kill my own momentum.
It's the same thing, right? It's with the fitness stuff like that. It wasn't that way at the beginning, but now it is, and it gets easier, and then it becomes just a part of what you do, right? So it's kind of like same thing, listening to a podcast, and this is going to dovetail nicely into the point I'm about to make, but like I am always listening to audiobooks and podcasts and reading different blogs and different kind of stuff. I have a 2-hour commute every day, so I get a lot of time in the car that I get to listen and absorb this kind of stuff, right? And one of them was talking about it was some Japanese philosopher, but he was like, you sweep the floor every day because it gets dusty again and it builds up, and you have to keep sweeping it, otherwise it just builds up and then you've got this monstrous mess you've got to deal with, right? So it's the same thing where you just got to keep like immersing yourself in this. So with the fitness thing, we had to immerse it, and it becomes part of what we do, and it becomes easier. And so the same thing, all these outside projects, you guys are doing Bululeka, we're doing the book chat. I've got some stuff I want to take on the side, entrepreneurial type things, and you just have to keep immersing yourself in it, and you just have to keep taking on new stuff and absorbing information, and then figuring out how to apply it to your own life. And I think that's the hard part, and it's kind of what we're talking about, which is a lot of people aim, but they don't ever fire. And I'm trying to, some
mother effing fire.
We're sitting here talking about
pull a damn
wanting like you say you do, and I feel like the 300-pound fat kid here trying to give diet advice. So because I got to pull my own trigger, right?
That sounds.
Don't tell Scott and John.
So you were saying you were coming around to a point. So what were you gonna go to, and then
just like what am I doing outside the fitness thing to keep moving, right? Because we have these conversations and you feel motivated. Is just keep doing it, keep listening, keep learning, keep reading, keep connecting with people, and keep trying to build your whatever dream it is that you're working on. You just keep working on it, and that's what I was saying. I get a lot of time to actually do that because I spend 2 hours in the car every day, so it just hammering through audiobooks like a madman, but
Dude, I wish we could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I mean, 2 hours in
Do
the
you
car
listen to it on 1.5?
1.5, yeah.
Dude,
And
I don't know how you guys do
Sometimes I have to catch
Mine-
myself.
But I mean, if I think about like, so I can't listen on 1
it. Dude, I'm
because that drives me slow. But I listen at 1.5. But my comprehension, like, if I read, I don't. My comprehension is less than actually listening to it at 1.5. Like I don't so I don't know if it's just
When I listen to it
if I got
twice,
issues that way.
Yeah.
I
I
listen,
usually listen twice. I'll save notes.
yeah,
And I'll go back, and that's what, like, if there's points that stick out to me, it'll grab 30 seconds.
yeah.
So I usually do that, and then each chapter I have 30 the different clips I can go back to. But yeah, no, I like that a lot. So those are some of the steps that you mentioned that I also take as well, that you take as well. So for me in the morning, my alarm. In fact, I have 2 alarms that go off. One at 4:15, one at 4:30. And then when I get out the door, I'm usually listening to something. Right out the door, I'm usually listening to we teach primary, so I'm usually listening to my lesson for church. To go out the door that first 15 minutes, and then when I get to the gym, Matt knows I take a full 30 minutes to warm up.
Yeah.
So I'm another
I'm the same way, man.
another 20 to 30 minutes on the audiobook once I get to the gym.
Yeah.
And then, but those are action steps that I'm trying to take every day. I did want to ask you about an action item that you had in place, or you have in place,
Yeah.
for one of these things you're pulling the trigger on. So if you don't mind telling us a little bit about
Sure.
why or what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it, and then what you hope to accomplish by doing it.
So, are you talking about the time off thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have, man, I could go so many different ways with this, like right away, but, so, in listening to all this stuff, I've had this idea where I really want to just do something more for myself, and same thing, purpose over passion. And I feel like there's an audience out there that I could connect with, that I could help with learning how to take control of your life with regards to health and fitness. And I'm not an expert, but having gone through what I've gone through, I feel like I can relate to a lot of people, and I feel like that's something that I could do that would benefit a lot of people. And I've been wanting to do something like that, and I haven't ever taken the plunge. I've just thought about it for a long time. And my biggest excuse was always that I didn't have enough time or money to do it. And to try to start a business. So instead what I did is I submitted a request to take a week off of work and actually have a staycation where I would actually live if I was a self-employed entrepreneur. So I wouldn't just stay at home and just relax, but I'd get up and I'd go through a normal daily routine and head to the coffee shop and set up my computer and start building my business and build a website and reach out to contacts and try to attract clients and actually live to see what it would be like working for myself for a week, to see if it's something that I could do, if it's something I like doing, and to see if anything it gives me a jump start to get it actually going, so then when I go back to work I can actually have my side hustle going. So just because for me the biggest excuse was always I don't have enough time, and so I was like, how do I make time, right? Time's the one thing that's finite that you just can't ever get that back. And so there's actually a really cool quote that I printed off and hung up by my computer. I don't know it by heart, but of course, I typed it on my computer and it didn't sync to my app. But it's like, you can accomplish a lot in 10 minutes, but once it's gone, it's gone. So if you break up your day into 10-minute increments and focus on what you can accomplish in the next 10 minutes and try to not focus on getting yourself wrapped up with inconsequential stuff, right? And so if you just look at it as what can I accomplish in the next 10 minutes, that's a really easy place to start. Especially
Consumable.
yeah, if you have this big dream of something big that you want to accomplish, again, that's overwhelming. But if you look at what's one thing I can do right now to take a step in that direction, you can accomplish anything in 10 minutes, right? So and so I've had that up in front of my desk, and that's helped a lot. Kind of makes it not so insurmountable. But anyway, I don't know if you want to follow
That's
up.
inspiring, dude. When are you planning on doing this?
Well, I actually planned to do it last week, and I had some client stuff come up, and so I didn't get to actually take the time off. So it kind of backfired. But so I'm going to do it at the end of the month, I think.
Cool.
Last week of the month. But I'm still trying to get pieces moving in that direction. And I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to cover specifically, but I got a couple notes.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
So part of this all comes from, that's the alarm for
25 minutes.
Is The Power of Something Stupid. That's one of the books that Phil and I talked about in the group chat, or the book chat. I don't know how far into it you are. But,
Just over halfway.
okay, so do you remember the deferred life plan?
Yeah.
So that was one thing that struck me real hard is it's this book that this entrepreneur came up with, and it's this deferred life plan, which is phase 1 and phase 2. And phase 1 is do what you have to do.
Which is what everybody's sold on right now.
Right,
Essentially.
and phase 2 is that way you get to do what you want to do, right? Which kind of ties in nicely here. We're talking about, want it like you say you do. And he said a lot of people get it mixed up where it's like, I gotta work my ass off and save up all this money, and that's when I'll get to do what I actually want to do. And they climb the ladder of success, and they find that the ladder is leaning on the wrong wall. And that one hit me big time, right? Because this is something I've been struggling with for a while now is, I didn't go to college right out of high school, and I got a job in sales, and, I was doing okay for myself, living on my own. And I was selling cell phones, and I was making a decent amount of money for a kid my age just selling cell phones, right? And everyone kept saying, you got to go to school, you got to get a degree, and you need to get a real job, right? And, and I didn't want to work nights and weekends for the rest of my life, so I was like, yeah, I'll do, it's the right thing to do, right? And this is the first year in 10 years that, I quit my job, went to school, got an office job, I've been working my way, a couple different jobs, took me like 8 years to get through school. This is the first year in 9.5, almost 10 years, that I actually made more money this year than I did selling cell phones. And that's a huge thing to think, the hell have I been doing the last 10 years, right? And it's the and so when I read that, I was just like, my ladder is on all kinds of walls right now. And I got a short ladder, it's on the wrong wall, and I gotta put my ladder back together, I gotta move it.
I'm in the wrong room.
Yeah. Like where am I at? What am I doing this for, right? And another thing that I found super helpful too is another podcast, Tim Ferriss. Look up the Tim Ferriss Show. It's a good one. There was an episode with a lady named Debbie Millman, and she has this really cool concept where she says, think ahead in your life 10 years, and where would you be in 10 years? Where would you want to be? So think about every detail, like what kind of food would you eat for breakfast? Would you eat for lunch? Would you eat for dinner? What house you want to live in? Where do you want to live? Who's living in the house with you? What are you doing in the morning? What are you doing? What are you doing creatively that sparks your interests and brings you to life inside, and then reverse engineer it backwards. So instead of just saying, what can I do right now today to, for this goal, right? Start with the goal and reverse back and think, if this is what I really want, what do I need to start doing to start moving in that direction and break it down that way, which is a totally different way of thinking about it that I've never done. So I kind of use those concepts all hand in hand to kind of make it so it would get me off my ass to start trying to do something with this training thing, which is where the idea for the staycation came from. So, anyway, so I went 3 different directions.
No, I like it.
Good.
I like it
too.
I like it. Any recap?
No, for me it's more like I like to listen. I'm a simple guy. Just go do it. Like
It's really, you're right. That's what it comes down to.
Right.
I don't know how it's, for me, I literally just think about how shitty my life was as a kid, of not being able to have things and not being able to do things, and I look back at what my brothers, my cousins are all doing now. It's like they're all at home, so it's like I don't ever want to be in that kind of situation again, nor do I want my kids to be in that situation. And so that alone puts enough fire in me to just go do it. If I fail, I fail. My wife, I always talk about my wife doing the things that she's doing, and that's what it literally comes down to. It's like I've always told her to go do, she wanted to go to school, she's wanted to finish esthetician, she was afraid of getting choosing between a higher end salon and a lower end salon, and it's like, why the hell would you limit yourself here when you're beyond here?
Yeah.
Why would you do that to yourself? And so it's
Well,
literally
it's
just
scary because you have to make a change, and
right.
it's
And I get the fear, but if you understand, my life is it wasn't shitty. I'm grateful for the life, how I was raised, because it's taught me so many things. but I don't want to go back to
Right,
that.
and you want something better. You want something better for your kids.
Right.
and-
I know there's more. Not my vision. It has definitely opened up, and so it's like, okay, well, I'm capable of achieving all of these things. Why am I sitting here not doing anything?
Right.
I don't know. And the same thing with fitness. It's like I'm capable of, like, I know I used to be at that weight. I used to be at 220 pounds and look good. Why can I not get back there?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, like, it took me a while to understand that. Like, why can I not do that?
And you can. The answer is you can. Right.
Yep.
And I think it's just scary to start, but what's scarier, like not starting or never having even tried or never having done it? And I think in life, I think we talked about this on the book chat last month, but like the scariest, maybe a month or two ago, the scariest stuff that you'll do in life are the things you remember the most. And that's good or bad, right? And if it's a bad experience, you for damn sure is not going to forget it, but you're going to be able to use that for future endeavors, right? And if it turns out to be something good, then you only have to gain from that. And so a lot of times it's just that whole literally taking the leap off and doing the scary thing, but that will always yield the most results. And I'm more than guilty about chickening out and not doing the scary thing that needs to be done. And I'm trying to get better about that, but
I think we all are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all get to that point.
I just need that damn t-shirt.
We're gonna more to come.
Yeah.
More to come. But all right, so let me just wrap up with a quick quote from The Power of Doing Something Stupid, just from our reading today. So just kind of end with everything. So I appreciate it, guys. So it says it's something that Richie Norton says: our greatest threat as it relates to pursuing our goals isn't a lack of time. It's not a lack of education or a lack of contacts or a lack of qualification. It's not logistical challenges or even doubts and criticisms of others. Nope, the biggest threat we face is the fear we generate as we think of all these things. More specifically, our biggest threat is our inability to overcome that fear. It's not the circumstances that we should feel threatened by, it's the fear of the circumstances that possess the real threat. Anyways, with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Bula leka. Peace.